Hi everyone, my name is Barbara. Welcome to my channel Right in the Woods, where I share my love of journaling and stationery and different kind of notebooks to make. So that's what we're going to do today. I'm going to talk about another kind of notebook that you can make. It's a garden journal, and if you are a gardener or you like landscaping or you just want to keep track of the plants that you have in your pots, this might be for you. If not, maybe you'll think of another thing that you could document and track that you do in your life. So, gardening journal. There's different ways to do a gardening journal, and again, you could go online and just type in gardening journals and get all kinds of ideas from people. And whenever I'm starting a new notebook, that's usually what I do. And then I go to this notebook, which is a Journal of Journals notebook, and it is an Archer and Olive. This was a specialty album at some point, but it did come back as a favorite, and they usually bring back favorites around Black Friday. So keep an eye out. Maybe it'll come back again. But it is a B5 notebook. It's a little thinner than most of Archer and Olive's notebooks. All right, which I like. But it's just a nice size for this, which is a Journal of Journals. So anytime I hear of a notebook to create, let's see if I get that so it doesn't shine in your face, I will jot things down and then I will come and put the final notes in this notebook. So I've got all kinds of notebooks in here, book journals, what else? Note taking, got some of my favorite, yeah, book travel, note taking, a bucket list one, a passion journal. We're going to do some passion journaling in our next journal session in August. So if you're interested in journal sessions, let me know. They're once a month via Zoom. They're live, but they're also recorded. So creative listing. A lot of these journals I've already talked about. So, and I only have a few left that I haven't talked about. So, gardening journal. Let me give you some ideas because it can take different forms. And then I'll show you the one that I have created. And again, go watch a bunch, take out what you like, and make your own garden journal. All right. So, let's see. You can keep a record of flowers and plants or vegetables or herbs that you've planted. You can keep the planting information and then document their growth, right? You can do garden planning in a garden journal where you make maps and decide on the plants that you want to do, any special features and things like that. Gardening techniques, so maybe tools or fertilizer, special planting instructions for specific plants. I mean, it can just be a note-taking gardening journal about how to garden. You can do an established garden journal, which is sort of what mine is, where you make a map, you keep plants and the information that you've put in that garden, maybe a mulch schedule, a feeding schedule, a watering schedule, notes of what plants worked. Because I am an experimental gardener, so a lot of times I'll just put plants in the garden and see if they survive. So I take lots of notes to tell me which ones have survived and which ones haven't. You can do a rain tracker. You can do monthly observations of your yard or garden. Just to, sometimes it's nice to know when the azaleas bloom and things like that. You can do a monthly record of what you did in your garden, before and after photos. You can have gardening goals. I'll go through some of this because some of these are in my actual garden journal. You can keep a list of native plants and trees. List of the best growing plants and trees for your area. Seasonal tasks that you do in the garden, what you do in the fall, what you do in the spring. You can make wish lists of the kind of plants or trees or hardscape that you want to do in your yard. You can keep ideas with pictures. You can display your plant tags that often come with plants. You can keep those in baseball card holders, which I think is a good idea. Me, I just keep them in a box. I'll show you that. But it seems like it'd be nice if there was an actual notebook of the plant cards. Okay. All right. You can make a whole journal on one type of plant. And I have a friend who's done this. You can do like all the different kinds of daisies. What's your favorite plant? What works well in your yard? And then do a whole lesson, a whole study of one plant. In growing season, you can keep a weekly log. You can, sometimes it's nice to have a small pocket-sized journal or notebook that you carry around with you so you can take notes of your yard or your gardens, depending on how big your garden is. And then you can come back and either put it in your notebook or you can use it to help you decide what happens next, right, in your yard. You can list seasonal blooming plants and flowers, like which ones come in spring and summer and late summer and fall. You can list plants or flowers by their height or color. That might help. If you are interested in gardening design or you do gardening design, sometimes it's nice to just have a list of plants at different heights and different colors so you know how to plant them in your garden. And then different focal points that you can have in your garden besides plants. All right, fountains, peace poles, statues, that kind of thing. All right, so those are some ideas for garden journal. And then I will just kind of flip through and show you how I did mine. Mine's a combination of several of those. Well, first of all, let me show you this. This is like easy peasy. So I think, like I said, you could take these plant things and stick them in if you cut this off, you could put them in baseball card holders and in a notebook. But I just use an empty Archer and Olive box and throw them all in here. I will write where I've put them. Like that says pots. All right, in the year 26, I put these flowers in pots, and then if they've done well, then I'll know next year I could put those in as well. But that's a lot of plants that I have in my yard. Some of these probably need to come out. I need to go through them. My garden changes every year. Some things survive, some things don't. Some things survive a few years and then all of a sudden they're gone. But I also have pests, and the pests seem to like my garden. And sometimes they leave the plant alone, and then the next year they like to eat it. All right, so my garden journal. I'll just tell you what's in here. I have an index, all right, just about gardening. And then this is just a little history of me and gardening, all right. I've always enjoyed it. I'm not a big, again, I'm an experimental gardener. So I do some study here and there, but it's not, I wouldn't say it becomes a main focus for study. But I do enjoy being out there digging up things and seeing the flowers once they grow. All right, garden goals, garden ideas, monthly notes for 10 years. I'll show you that. So I walk around my yard and just make notes, and I have it for each month, and I have it set up for 10 years. Whole yard map of your, gardens. Maybe you have plants in the front of your house, plants in the back, and then what's in those. I have a trail map. I'll explain that. History so far of my yard. So, and that's in the back of my book. Yard zones. I have a big yard. So I have sectioned my yard into zones so it's easier for me to keep track of. And then just a miscellaneous section. And a lot of that are notes I've taken from things I've read, or if I've attended a gardening class, which are few, I will take notes and put them in here so I have the information. All right, so here's my little blurb about me and gardening. And then I have garden goals. My biggest goal that I always remember, and I could read these, but the biggest goal I remember is every year I want to plant a tree, and I want to make a new garden spot, and then, or fix the plants that didn't survive from the last year in certain gardens. All right. Garden ideas. Like this is, I would like to make the curb appeal at the top of my driveway a little prettier. Every year plant a tree, that kind of thing. All right, and then these are monthly notes. So I have it, here are the months, and then years, and then I'll take little notes. So it's kind of interesting to read from year to year what's there. And then I have the other 6 months here. Not a lot going on in November and December. So soon I'll fill out this one for July for 2026. And then I just did it for 10 years. So I have 27, 28, 29. First half of the year. So, and then 30, 31, 32. I think it just pages are stuck together. Yeah. All right. So I think you get the idea. So I get 6 months, 3 years on 2-page spread. You can make your boxes smaller, though sometimes I think I would like a bigger box, except for like November, December, January, not much happens. All right, then I have a whole house, like a whole yard map, and I have, okay, here's the house, here's my garage, and then I have color-coded different zones. So this gray zone here is zone 1, and that's in the front of my house. Zone 2 is this little garden I have behind the garage. 5 is yellow, and it's one that's over here behind the shed. This is around the fire pit. Zone 4. Zone 3 is in the back of my house. All right. And then I do think I have a zone 5, which is, oh no, that's this one. That's a new garden I planted a couple years ago. And then there is another zone, which is down by there's a creek that runs down here on my property, and there's some stuff down there. But I don't do a whole lot down there. Other than keep it weed whacked. All right. So then I have a trail map because my property is pretty big and I like to walk, and it's kind of, and I wanted to see like what my property looked like. So I made trails. So for example, here's the house, here's my garage. This trail right here was here, and that's it. The rest, well, and this little one down to the creek. All right. But the rest I have put in weed whacked, hacked. And it's kind of fun to walk at night. And then I named all the trails. I don't know if you can see those pictures, but I named all the trails after roads I'd lived on in various places. All right. Anyway, so that's that's a trail map. So whole garden, whole trail. And then each zone. So zone 1 was in front of my house. Then I've made little keys of what plants are in there. I've taken a few pictures to see what it looks like over the years. I've taken notes for each year, 23, and so forth. It looks totally, I look at this and it looks totally different now again. So again, it's just a record of what I've done. Again, 25, 25, 26. I haven't even done 26 yet, and I've done some stuff out there. Anyways, I think you get the idea, and I pre-decorate. So again, mostly just some washi tape just to add a little something. Again, a map, very rough. You know, you don't have to be an expert sketcher to do this. I know there are probably like official, I don't know if you can see that very well, little keys for landscaping. I just made up my own, except for bushes. I think I knew bushes like are round with dots, all right, or trees or something like that. All right. Again, a map, some pictures, little things that I've done over the years. I'm decorating. I just leave pages open. Then I get to zone 3. Again, map, pictures, notes. Zone 4, map, pictures, notes. Zone 5, map, picture, notes. Oh, I need an after picture. See? Okay, so that's pretty much it. Zone 6 is the creek, but I don't do a whole lot down there. All right, let's see. Yeah, not a whole lot going down by the creek. All right, then the miscellaneous section where I put notes of things I've read about, or if I went to a class, I'll put them in here. I do like to keep track of flowers that I know grow well here, or people have told me that what grows well, and then I try it. Seasonal to-dos. Rain tracker, though I've discovered I'm terrible at rain tracking. Okay, so this one I actually wrote down little squares for each each day, and then I would fill it. Say obviously, I got like 4 days filled in. Here's another day, and I would just fill it in. Terrible at keeping track of this. This one is probably a little easier. It's just months, and then I circle when it's rained. Again, not very good at tracking, but I think I put So I might leave this off for next time and just write a note about how much rain we got during each season. And then I did add a section on trees because I got some trees from the Arbor Day Society, and so I put the information I needed for those there. And I did plant them and I'm keeping track of them. And then just like miscellaneous stuff back here. All right. If I did major yard work. Peace poles. I love these painted peace poles. I have several in my yard. Love those as extra decor instead of plants. And that's it. So that's a garden journal. All right. Make it your own. Again, I could have just done pots of plants, and it could have been a very small journal if I was just going to keep track of plants that I put in pots, and just, just to keep track of how they did, and what I liked and what I didn't. So there you go. I hope this gives you some ideas if you're a gardener or thinking about a way to keep track of plants in your yard. This could be for vegetable gardening too. I am not a vegetable gardener, so it'd be great for that as well. All right. So if you have any questions, please leave them in the comments. I will be happy to answer them for you. Tell me if you are a gardener and what you like to plant. Are you flowers? Do you like to landscape? Are you a herb and vegetable gardener? I would love to know. So thank you so much for being here. May you be happy. May you be healthy. May you get to write today. And may you get to be creative today. Thank you so much.